take this one. Now, this is a little bit worrisome. I'm a little worried because, you know, fucking, like, he's already coming out with the title Overlord of Overhype. And I'm going to be real with you. Yes and no. There are many characters that will literally scale Minato and do, like, extreme fucking highballing scaling or even ratty scaling for him. However you, like, interpret it, whatever. Kind of similar to Chunin Exam, Sasuke, or other bullshit, you name it. Or to people that actually think Sasuke could beat the entire Sound 4. Or think that Sasuke scales to fucking Kimaru. Like, so that type of line of scaling to where it can maybe make sense or maybe understandable, whatever, blah, blah, or whatever. But there's just certain things that people do or say with Minato that's just blatantly like, just come on, bro. Like, that's just not, you know, like, he's not like a god. Like, he's strong. You know, he's in, like, that certain line of scaling. Like, for instance, like, you got, like, 6 pass, right? Then you got, like, the War Arc scaling where you have, like, fucking KCM, you know, Tune Arts and all that other shit. You got Madara, Obito, whatever, blah, blah. You know, then eventually it goes down to where you have, like, Minato and Itachi, you know, and then so on and so forth. Like, so, like, there's gaps between scalings. And Minato is definitely in that very high tier scaling to where Minato and Itachi are at. You know what I mean? Like, where in comparison to all of part 1, they would fucking slam. In comparison to even into the, like, the beginning of Shippuden, with a majority of characters, they would fucking slam. You know, like, Minato and Itachi are definitely in a line of scaling where, like, you know, it's up there, you know? So he's no joke as a character. And he is very fucking strong. But there are people that really, really, like they're just dramatic with him. They need to relax, you know? 6 is one of them. And there's, like, some other... There's you know, there's a lot of people in the Naruto community that do it. So if that's his line of reasoning and direction, I definitely can understand and relate to that because there's some shit that's just said that's just crazy. Like, for instance, like, the whole debate... Now, regardless if Seth truly believes it or not, or if Seth just, you know, would just use it as, like, an argument for debating... You know, Seth came out with the argument that, oh, like, you know, speed of light, blah, blah, like, you know, the Raikage, blah, blah, you name it, the data books, whatever, yada, yada. And therefore, like, Minato can just move so fast and base to where, like, people couldn't even be able to blink and they're dead, whatever, yada, yada. Which, you know, if you really thoroughly analyze Minato, if you have enough reaction and combat speed, even if he may be faster with his teleportation or whatever, you could still be able to react to him. And if you can react to him or use jutsu activation, similar to, like, Sasuke with Susanoo and against the Raikage, things like that, even if they're faster than you, as long as you have jutsu activation speed or reaction speed, okay, you can still react to their greater speed. If that makes sense. I mean, that should make sense. So, and Killer Bee is an example, Raikage is an example, KCM1 Naruto is an example, shown many times in comparison, things like that. You know, Obito, obviously, when he fought him younger, is an example, can react, blah, blah. Like, so when it comes to, like, Minato's, like, speed, when he's, like, moving, like, his combat, reacting, blah, blah, you name it, people like to say it's on the same level as Flying Raijin, and that's just blatantly not the case. That's not supported, that's not shown at all. He has his own separate speed with his combat and reaction, and obviously his Flying Raijin speed. There's a reason why for the technique. If Minato had the same speed as Flying Raijin, why would he need the fucking technique? Does that make any sense? You know what I mean? Like, that's stupid. It takes a shit ton of chakra too. So, they're two different levels of speed, and Minato's body flicker is shown to be similar to at least KCM1 teleportation, if that makes sense, from what we've seen in You Name It. Better than that, that's body flicker and Flying Raijin. That's not him moving at those speeds at constant times. That's not the case. It's not shown with Obito, not shown with Killer Bee, not shown with Raikage, you name it. Raikage fought him several fucking times and stated verbatim, you name it, supporting the data books, and in the manga and anime. So clearly they have reaction speed or combat speed to react whenever he is teleporting, and then it just boils down to strategizing and an intelligence to see who comes up top, and that's where Minato really specializes and favors in comparison, especially when we're talking about B or Raikage, which is why he was winning in that fight when we first see their fight and interaction together. So, you know, when we really are being honest and at least applying some transparency and integrity, you know, that's what you're basically looking at with Minato. So, we're going to get into the video. I'm not going to do as many pauses as I want. I don't want this video to be forever long, so I'm going to do my very best. I know that's what I'm really bad at. I apologize. So, we're going to get into the video. We're going to listen. Unless it's something really that really just either gets under my skin or something that's blatantly incorrect, okay, or something that maybe would deserve somewhat of an attention to respond to that could be, contentious or whatever, in my opinion, I'll say something. If it's not necessary, whatever, or I agree, obviously I'm not going to say anything, or if it's not that serious, I'll just let it slide. All right, let's go.
Okay, so before I get the lynch mob called on me, let me make something very clear. Okay, I know how powerful Minato is, alright?
I'm gonna be real. The video intro completely caught me off guard. I felt like I was about to watch a Naruto PowerPoint at first. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but like dead ass. And at the end of the day, like I've done like similar videos where I just have I have it structured in a way where it's kind of just like sliding different images and it's just my commentary or whatever, or it's just me showing my face or whatever, and then recording and whatnot. So like I get it. I kind of I try to make it unique in my own way. You know what I mean? When I do my recordings and whatnot. But like this, it kind of caught me off guard. I didn't expect it to be like that, because everybody always has the same shit. It's either the same paper background, or it's the same fucking just anime showing and they're talking, or it's fucking, it's always the same shit. You know what I mean? It's the same fucking shit. It's just then them just giving their commentary, their opinion, or arguments. That's it. The most creative, like Naruto videos or like creativity of people doing an Naruto vid and talking is like what I see with NC Hammer. Like he's probably like the first one of the biggest first Naruto channels to actually show his face and like show his environment, you name it, and then maybe show some anime or whatever, some statements, whatever, blah blah, you name it. But like that's unique, that's different. I like that. While for me, like I'll either show my face while recording whatever, or I'll basically like just show I'll have a different area of like showing you like my photos and whatnot, or like in my computer. Like I try to make it as unique as possible and creative, because I'm gonna be real with you, like I can easily have fucking a paper background or anime playing while giving a commentary, you name it, and do the same fucking shit everybody does, or pay fucking a good amount of money to have some editing or whatever and structured in a way where it makes it more nice or enjoyable to watch, professional, whatever. But it's just not that serious. You know what I mean? Like but like it's basically just that simple. So I could easily do that as well, but it's just not that serious to me. Like if the channel eventually gets bigger and bigger and bigger, then that's a little different. Maybe I might try to make it a little more fancy and professional with the editing, at least bare minimum. But like. That's it. I just want a little quick off-topic thing. Like that shit completely threw me. Ken, you don't have to react, but would you be willing to give your opinion on the what if Sakura was not in Naruto video? So just give my opinion, but don't react to it. What video are you talking about? You specify on that.
I'm not here to rag on him and say he's the weakest Hokage. I know there are people out there who think he can't even beat Tsunade, which is absurd to say the very least. But I'm also here to say that he's not exactly the monstrous powerhouse that a lot of people present him to be.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of people who just think there are a lot of people out there, who they are, who think Minato is just an unstoppable god who just is unbeatable in all fashions, and like the amount of overhype man gets is just crazy to me, and I really don't understand why people think, because a lot of people are into feats, they gotta have feats or whatever. Like this dude is literally just all hype. That's it. Now let me give you a few examples. So I've heard people say that he could beat Madara. I've heard people say he could beat Hashirama. I've heard people say he could beat Guy. I've heard people say he could fight and if the entire Akatsuki jumped him, he could win. Now, that's just crazy, right? So for starters, with Minato has no AP feats whatsoever, at all, right? Like the only thing he really has going for him is one-shotting a pseudo-crippled 14-year-old who wasn't even really trying to fight him, right? Now, that may sound stupid because obviously...
Wait a minute. So, Obito's not crippled. That's the first thing. He's not crippled. I don't know what he means by that. Two, like, Obito was definitely trying to kill Minato. So I'm just putting that out there. Like, you could say maybe Obito was like mentally nerfed to a degree because he is fighting his sensei and fucking up the whole village. But I'm gonna be real with you. I feel like there's a more possibility that he's not mentally nerfed for anything. And the reason why I'm gonna go that far is because the anime shows it and the manga shows it as well. But eventually, when Obito appears to the village, like, before he does anything, he's just looking at the village, right? And then he just screams, like, internally in his head, like, it doesn't matter anymore. I don't care anymore. And then just summons the Nine Tails. So he's finally, like, his heart is finally, content with destroying his home, killing everybody, and even potentially killing the Hokages, you know what I mean? And his master, and even his best friend, Kakashi. Like, he dropped all remorse. He didn't give a fuck anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that he didn't maybe have any feelings, you know, or maybe whatever, things like that on the side after or whatever, but that's fine. But the fact that he was willing to go that far, like, so for instance, let's say, like, I got a nuclear bomb switch, right? And I go up to it, okay, and I have the ability to bomb my entire family in the state that I was born and raised in, right? So clearly I can have some emotions and feelings for it, blah, blah, because that's natural. Who wouldn't, right? Unless you're just crazy or emotionless or psychotic or whatever. I don't know. You know, and like, you know, I hesitate at first. Whatever. I push the button. Now everybody's basically going to die unless somehow, some way they can stop it, right? The fact that I was willing to go that far does prove that Obito was willing to drop all his emotion, you name it, blah, blah, and just not be mentally conflicted anymore. Okay? And then basically, you know, went with the plan, some of the Nine Tails, chaos that's happening, blah, blah, mini deaths, you name it, blah, blah, you name it. So, it's really weird to say that Obito wasn't trying to kill him. You know, like, you can subjectively argue that the possibility of, like, he maybe eventually along the lines was getting, you know, kind of mentally conflicted or, you know, whatever, or a type of external conflict going on. You know, maybe that could have handed up, but I don't know, bro. Like, you know, it is what it is. I don't think it's that serious and major enough because either way, you know, like, him and Minato were basically on equal footing. You know what I mean? So, like, even if you grant that to Obito, Minato's bloodlusted and going at full power, they're still on equal footing or whatever, like, and it's just that simple. And that's all we got. Like, that's all we got, unfortunately. You know, concretely, all we have is them clearly relative and being able to be in equal ground, moving, you reacting, you name it. Okay? And it really was boiling down to their flying Raijin and Kamui, who can basically strategize and do better. That's what it boiled down to win the fight. So, I don't know about all those points. That's a little weird, but let's continue. And then when he said he doesn't have any attack potency feats, he was able to cut the Killer Bee 8 Tails, his tentacles, like, in half and whatnot, you name it. Which is, it is a feat because, you know, it took for Sasuke's, like, lightning cable, you know, Taka Sasuke to, like, cut through the tails. You know, fucking Obito's, like, shuriken could cut through it as well. So things like that. So, like, that is pretty impressive. You're able to at least cut the tentacles of, you know, of the 8 tails. Things like that. So he has enough AP to cut the 8 tails, which is pretty impressive, you know? So, like, either way, like, you have that. Then you have, like, whenever he cuts anybody, like, he immediately just, you see blood and, you know, they're instantly getting fucked up. So, and then the Rasengan, we all know how powerful the Rasengan is. An A-rank jutsu. It could basically fuck up, like, anybody. Like, literally. Well, except for Madara. And Madara and Hashirama, except for them. Unless, if you're them, you can somehow fucking tank that shit. But, you know, if anybody else, you're just not tanking it. You know, and they have, like, you know, Rasengan's just powerful alone with just a small one. The one he has in his hand is way bigger than what Naruto can normally do, even in Shippuden Naruto. Like, so that would do even more fucking damage. The bigger the Rasengan, the more powerful it's going to be. So Rasengan's no fucking joke. It's basically like a tail beast bomb, but using your own chakra, if that makes sense. You know? So, it's a very strong jutsu. That obviously correlates to attack potency. So, you know, and that's basically what you got. When it comes to, like, taijutsu and stuff like that, probably just normal level, just like anybody else, you know, like Itachi, whatever, yada yada, etc. You know, or at least, you know, on par with going toe-to-toe, like maybe with KCM, Naruto, things like that, you know. So, but that's about it. That's all you got. So he does have pretty good, you know, attack potency. I don't know about all that. That's really weird. Like, if you're going to make those claims, then show why, you know.
they were fighting, and Obito was trying to get rid of him. But Obito, there was a reason Obito was there, and I'll get into that later. So, like, and then some of you may say, what do you mean? He was about to stab the Raikage in the back, right? Well, for one,
True.
this is a younger Raikage before he was even Kage. Like, his father is still alive at this point. His father is still the Kage at this point. This is a younger Minato and a younger Raikage, right? So, like, even then, it took MS Sasuke penetrate. It took 5 Kage Summit Sasuke with a Shidori to even get through this thing, right? And if that's a stronger Raikage, then either one, this kunai just wouldn't have done anything. If you wanted to assume that it's equal in strength, or that this cloak is equal in strength to the one that's specifically trained and stronger than in the future, then like this kunai wouldn't have done anything really.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a fair point. I get what he's saying. So basically, what he's saying is, like the lightning cloaks and the Raikage are no joke. Like they're really fucking. Like basically, what they're known for is to amplify speed and durability. And if you're talking about a Raikage, this Raikage, mind you, that's able to go toe to toe with the 8 tails, even blah blah. Same thing like the third Raikage, blow for blow, whatever. Okay, like those type of durability feats and AP feats. It's understandable to come to the insertion that, the kunai would just break. You know what I mean? Like the moment it hits the lightning arm, it would just snap, just as it did to Jubito's orb staff thing. So like I can see why he would say that, but then again, like it just once again it depends how the argument's presented, the line of scaling or given whatever, but it's understandable. I definitely understand what he's saying. He's not saying something outrageous or like to fuck up, what like whatever. Like I get what he's going at. So that's a possibility. Maybe it would have broke. We don't know. Now, if a Rasengan, though, was being thrown at him, I do believe that would go through. Because if Shidori could go through, okay, Rasengan should be able to do the same. At least, actually, no. I'm capping. My bad. So, we know the Rasengan is stronger than Shidori, right? We know that for a fact. Okay? It's stated verbatim and it's shown with Naruto and Sasuke as well. Alright? Yet Sasuke Shidori could go through the fourth Raikage, and the third Raikage's lightning spear could go through his lightning cloak as well. This is where it gets weird. Okay, this is where it gets like really, really trippy Naruto land, right? So Naruto and KCM with a Naruto Raisen Shuriken. We know the Raisen Shuriken, okay, is stronger than a Rasengan. It's blatantly stated. It's S-rank jutsu. It also has a wind style nature element to it as well. Okay. Yet it couldn't do anything against the third Raikage. Okay. So maybe a Rising with all that line and reasoning, if you think, they're similar, whatever, blah blah, then the Rasengan wouldn't work either. And he would just think it, okay? Which I believe he might eventually show that to try to show that Minato wouldn't have been able to do anything with his Rasengan or a kunai. And that would have basically just been that. And you can go along with that reasoning. Or the only way to kind of counter that is, okay, fourth Raikage is just stronger than not fourth. The third Raikage is just better with durability than the fourth Raikage. He's just built different, right? Maybe that's the reason. I don't know. He's pulling a fucking Madara, right? And he's just that different. But the Raikage, is whatever, and that's it. So, that's the only way you can kind of counter. Or, like I said, backtracking to what I said beforehand, like, even though Rasengan or Raisen Shuriken would beat, Shidori, or is proven to be shown to be better, if you have enough chakra control, whatever, which this is also shown many, many times, you can be able to stalemate or even beat your elemental weakness. Or, okay, what's it called, for, like, the Raikage, like, I don't know, like, basically what I'm trying to say is, even though the Raisen, we know it's stronger than Shidori, for some reason, only lightning style is shown to pierce lightning armors. It's weird. I don't know why, but lightning style is the only way. So is it like just like a hacks type of thing where it's because lightning, whatever, that's why? Or I don't fucking know. I really don't know. So it's really, really weird. When it comes to the lightning cloak armors, it's really weird. Only lightning style has been shown to be effective against it, while wind, which is its weakness, you know what I mean? Where it should go right through, just what happened with like Kakasu and Kakashi's lightning. Just can't do it. And then, even like a Raisen Shuriken couldn't do. So like it's just really weird, man. I don't know. So like it just like I said, it depends on how you go about it. And I mean, it really does. At the end of the day, it's very complex. So I'm assuming he might go in that direction where he'll basically show that and basically try to show that therefore anything Minato did against him, it would just not done anything, which is why the fight would have just been redundant, and that's it, blah blah blah. And that's kind of further supported in a way, not concretely, but in a way when there's a statement that he's fought Minato several times. You know what I mean? And obviously, if they're enemies and at war, why would Minato just be fucking around? You know what I mean? Blah blah. Like in their fight that they did, the first time they fought, Minato just showed that he likes them, whatever, blah blah, and then basically leaves and just that's it, doesn't fight. But great, that's the first fight. You can't just say, oh, that's going to happen every other fight. That doesn't make any sense. Because Raikage wants to fucking kill him. And Killer Bee is just helping Raikage. While Minato, he's a friendly dude, whatever, and he likes him. So he was having fun, and then he just left. So you'd have to basically prove in somehow that Minato is not bloodlusted anymore and doesn't care, which that's not really the case. Minato's always bloodlusted in every fucking fight he goes. He's always aiming for the head, the neck, or your spine, or whatever, So, like, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So if you take that statements and all that, the data books and even the anime and the manga, then you can maybe apply that anything Minato had just couldn't be able to hurt the Raikage and wouldn't do anything, and so that's why it was always like a stalemate. He was faster, but he just couldn't hurt him. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I'm just putting that out there. I'm gonna let the video play a lot more longer and go from there.
I doubt it would have even pierced it. Or you could just say that, like, this is a weaker Raikage, which is the interpretation I'm going with, right? Like, this is a weaker Raikage, so even then, this isn't equivalent to Raikage Summit Sasuke piercing him with a Chidori, right? That is not the same thing. And when it comes to the Raikage anyways, they're equals, right? The data book and all that hypes them up as being rivals in power, right? The Raikage literally has the same amount of hype that Minato does. Well, I'm not going to say that, but in regards to their speed and notoriety about that,
true.
Like, the Raikage and Minato are basically, like,
it's blatantly shown with KCM1 Naruto, stated verbatim by multiple characters in the manga and anime. Data books even supports it further. It's really disingenuous to say Minato is just vastly more stronger or just instantaneously shit on him. Like, it's really weird. Really weird. Like, you're basically arguing with Kishimoto. You know what I mean?
The data book that he boasts godlike speed, not inferior to even the Yellow Flash. Literally. That's what it says in Minato's book too, right? He has godlike speed. And, like, in this book, it says that he is not inferior to the Yellow Flash.
Yeah, everything's good, by the way, Ken. And I made one when I was starting. I was curious if it was possible. Now, I'll definitely watch the video. I'll let you know. So, I know you have pretty good logic and line of reasoning and scaling. So, I wouldn't surprise me if it is passed. You know what I mean? Or if it's a pretty solid video. So, don't downplay yourself, man.
So, if you've seen my Raikage, How Strong is the Raikage video where I power scaled him, I said that the Raikage is physically faster than Minato, right? Now, that's not to say Minato is physically slow at all, because that would just be stupid. But Minato teleports, which means that his speed comes from his teleportation, right?
Yep.
Now, yes, he has to be fast enough for his reaction time to be able to teleport,
correlate.
like the brain receptors and all that has to be like, oh, I have to move. There's an attack coming. So, yes, he does have to be fast enough to notice that and react to it. But when it comes to him actually moving, like, if Minato didn't have his teleportation, like, he's not... Like, if it was just a foot race or whatever, like, the Raikage is definitely beating Minato in those regards, right? So, and even then, if you want to go based off that, when Naruto was fighting the Raikage, for one, they were fighting pretty much equally anyway. Matter of fact, the Raikage was more than likely dominant in that fight if you actually watch it. And on top of that, like, the only thing they could do in that fight was compare him to Minato. Like, that's it. The entire point of that fight was like, oh, he's as fast as Minato. Like, that was the entire purpose of the fight. Like, there's no reason to assume that Raikage or anything like that was, like, drastically slower. Like, no. The whole point was to compare him to Minato, right? And even then, like,
To be fair, that was Yellow Flash Minato though,
Minato,
but yeah, Minato.
anything of relevant, even when it comes to Minato's feats, he doesn't have a lot, right? Mainly because he died early. But like, we don't really know anything. We don't really have a lot of feats from his past, really. A lot of them are just hearsay. We never actually seen him do it. Now, when he became Hokage, there was cutscenes in the games or whatever. If you want to take that into consideration, I know some people don't, but there were cutscenes in the game that implied he fought Jiraiya and Hiruzen in order to prove that his power, and it's implied that he won because he became the Hokage. But even if you don't want to take that into consideration, like, we just don't have a lot of real feats from him, right? So, and even in the war, like Minato, like, first off, let me go to this, because this is the big thing right here. Okay, a lot of people take Minato and Obito's fight way out of proportion. I think they just listen to people online who dick ride Minato, say he's the god of all gods, and misinterpret the fight instead of reading or watching it themselves, right? So, in this particular fight, Minato said that the Kamui was superior to his and Tobirama's flying Raijin, right? And he said that, and he found Obito's weakness in this, in the Kamui, right? So he was like, okay, whoever gets the first hit wins. Like, he wasn't even sure if he was going to, like, beat him. Right? It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of I have to do this, right? So even though it is stated that that the flying Raijin ignores distance, which means even if he did get sucked into Kamui, he would have been able to actually teleport out, hilariously enough. But the point was, Minato wasn't even confident he could beat this guy, right? He was like, whoever gets the first attack. And two, like, Obito in this fight, he wasn't really trying to, like, defeat or take down Minato. He was more so trying to just get him out of the way. It was more so of him battlefield removal. It was more of a battlefield removal more than beating him into submission, right? So Obito knows how powerful Minato is, right? Like, he's his master, okay? Like, he knows what he's capable of. So, I mean, Minato is Obito's master. Like, Obito trained underneath him. He's seen what Minato can do, right? Like, he's not stupid. So Obito's main purpose here was to get the Nine Tails, destroy the village, and all that, right?
So I'm gonna just do a slight comment on that. I understand what he's saying because, it's his master, blah blah. Like, yeah, he can know whatever certain things, yada yada. That's fine. But I'm gonna be real with you. Like, when he does the flying Raijin and throws a kunai at him, and then does the flying Raijin and teleports, Obito literally sounds so fucking confused and surprised. Like, he literally says, "Oh, he teleported to the kunai? Oh no!" Like if Minato doesn't do that shit. So it's like, it does become questionable to where, like, did Obito really understand Minato? Like, did he really understand how his abilities and everything work? Like, because he knew he had the reputation of speed and being fast, right? But every time Minato, like, did his teleportation or whatever, Obito was always like, wow, he's just so fast, Or then fucking, like, he does his kunai thing. He's surprised that he teleported behind the kunai, which makes no fucking sense. If you know that's your master and know everything about him, he should expect that, right? And kind of pull what he did against Danzo's goons, where he fakes that, whatever he's gonna attack, and then Minato would have just basically teleported, went through him, and then guess what? He grabs him and Kamui GG. But that didn't happen. Instead, it was more of like an off-guard moment to where, like, he's like surprised that he teleported behind to the kunai, and I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So I don't know about all that. Like, it's interesting. It's understandable. Okay, whatever. But if that was really the case, I feel like Obito would have strategized a lot more better, or would have been able to beat Obito, because all he would have had to do is just not, be materialized, act like he's gonna grab him, whatever. You know what I mean? Just like we did with Danzo goons, and then Minato would have teleported, slammed his rising on, went through him, and then grabbed GG. You know what I mean? Like, unless, like, Minato had, like, another kunai or something, which he probably would have, and then he would have just teleported away. But basically what is stated over and over is that if Obito, like, started comboing Minato again, that would have been it. He would have been dead. Like, it's stated several times that if Obito gets a combo on him, not even flying Raijin would have been fast enough to get him out, you know? So, you could say that Obito misjudged how fast the kunai was. Like, yeah. Like, you know, when he throws the kunai, you know what I mean? Like, but that's the thing. Like, when he throws the kunai, like, it's going through his fucking head slowly. And then the moment it goes out, okay, like, he knows the kunai's behind him, okay? You know, because, like, that's when he stopped his, like, his intangibility. Like, he has to materialize in order to grab someone in Kamui and whatnot. So, like, he knew the kunai was out because he stopped phasing. Otherwise, you know, what's it called? If he didn't stop it, you know, Minato would have just went through. But, like, he materializes, he's about to grab him or whatever. And then Minato teleports, and he just says in the manga anime, oh, he flew to the kunai, like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, I get, like, what you're saying. Like, Obito could have just misjudged how fast, not kunai, Kamui was. Like, I get you could say that, too. Maybe, like, I don't know. He fucking thought, like, his Kamui activation just could have been able to compensate, similar, like, with the Susanoo and Raikage and whatnot. But, like, then, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, you know, it's really interesting. Like I said, it's really weird. It's either just Obito just wasn't expecting that, you know, similar to the Uchiha that fought Tobirama. Or if you think that's bullshit because, you know, mask, blah, blah, whatever, and you want to go on his line of reasoning, then you could just be like, oh, well, you know, what's it called? He knows, blah, blah, and then clearly just Minato was just faster. You know what I mean? So, or whatever. I don't know. But it's weird, you know, because like I said, with Danzo's goons, obviously, you know, like, they're not Minato, but, you know, like, basically Obito's fighting with them relatively or whatever. Like, nobody's getting speed blitzed. And then he acts like he's about to hit the other person, tricks them, goes through, and then their attacks backfires, basically. You know what I mean? So, like, if you do it in the concept that, like, you know, that wasn't the case or whatever, and he should have just been able to, you know, still either have Kamui on or fucking, what's it called, or maybe reactivate Kamui in time. You know, I don't know. Like I said, it's really weird. It's extremely, all of it's extremely contentious. You know, it's really fucking weird. I get what he's saying, whatever, but, like, I don't know. Like, there's not really a way to know. And at the end of the day, what we do have is Minato is successful. He teleports, hits him. You know, so, and we know bare minimum. We know bare minimum that he was at least not fast enough to activate Kamui. Okay, because he couldn't. If he could, he would have done it, and he would not have gotten hit. So we know that at least bare minimum. It is what it is, you know, but, like, it's all just about timing, you name it, blah, blah, and that's it. You know, it's simple, so.
And the thing about Kamui is that it only works if you don't know how it works, right? Now, you could say that with every attack, but with Kamui, it's a little different. Minato is, like, one of 3 or 4 people to have ever countered the Kamui, right? So, like, the only other people to do it was Conan, who literally had 600 billion paper bombs and blew them up until his timer ran out. And the other one was Kakashi, who literally had his other eye, which means he basically had to use his ability against him. So, in those regards, like, you need to know how Kamui works or have at least a small idea, right? Because once you know how it works, it's extremely easy. Even then, it's not extremely easy to counter, right? And when Minato fought, and then, like, when Minato figured that out, Obito had no other purpose to be there, right? So he lost the Nine Tails, and Minato figured out his technique. So that was just a lose-lose. Obito was making a tactical retreat and was like, oh, okay, I failed my mission. Goodbye. Like, yeah, it's not necessarily a good argument to say that. It's not really a good scale to say Minato just wrecks all of the Akatsuki. Okay, that's not. It's not a really good argument. Okay.
So I get what he's saying. So basically what he's saying is, like, you know, I mean, the whole fight is weird. It's kind of, you know, gets contentious to a degree to where it could have more than likely gone either way, you know what I mean, whatever. And then not only that, if we're really technically being serious, when Obito does appear behind Minato, you know, like, Minato is able to sense him and immediately reacts and, like, slices through his head. And remind you, at that moment, Obito was, like, reaching his hand out to grab him and then Kamui him, and then Minato, like, reacts, and he's using combat speed, right? And Obito was able to activate Kamui, okay? You know, or it was either he was able to activate it, or it was already on. Either way, that's the problem. We just don't fucking know. It's not like Kishimoto's stating over and over like, oh, he's deactivating at this moment, or he had it active the whole time. Like, we just don't know. So it is what it is. But let's say, you grant that and say he activated it, then that would be proven to show that he can clearly activate Kamui even when Minato strikes or whatever. Or if you think it was already active, then no. Whatever. But either way, what's it called? Like, he strikes, goes through his head, and then he grabs him, and then he's like, it's over, and then Minato teleports out. And then when Obito says verbatim is, all right, he really is fast, I underestimated him, I'll just do it faster, and then that's it, GG. So meaning that wasn't even his fastest, like, warp speed, So, with that being said, okay, when you have all that, the fight basically when it's shown, and it's not like, a lot of people like to look at that fight and say, oh, Minato just no diff, that's it, right? Okay, the fight could have gone either fucking way. Like, either way, you know what I mean? And it was close, high-speed fight. They were both able to react to each other multiple times and basically feel each other out. They charged. Minato went through them. The chains grabbed Minato. He teleports out again. You know what I mean? Like, they were moving at both consistent speeds, you name it, and literally thinking and strategizing. So, like, it wasn't like, oh, just instant no diff, you know what I mean? Like what fucking Kakashi does in part 1 to Sasuke and Naruto. Not Sasuke and Naruto, to Sasuke when he finally gets serious, and things like that, whatever. So, overall, like, it's just that simple. That's what you got, So it's interesting, So I get his line of reasoning where basically he's saying it could have gone either way. So it's not really necessarily like a feat where, therefore Minato just slams everybody instantly, blah, blah, blah. Like, that could have gone, either way. You know what I mean? So, therefore, that just clearly shows that, like, similar to scaling with Obito, and that this Obito eventually gets along the line where, it's kind of implied by Kishimoto that Itachi could be able to take him. Konan performed really well against him, things like that. Danzo's goons did pretty decent against him, in my opinion. They didn't, like, I was expecting them just to get instantly speed blitz or just instantly one tap, like some Madara type shit. Didn't fucking happen. They were able to kind of, maneuver and react and try to strategize, and they were also able to immediately deduce how Kamen works, just like Minato did. The only difference is they couldn't execute on the succession of exploiting its weakness. So, like, overall, like, if you look at all that, then therefore that would support more in the direction of his line of reasoning and argument. If that makes any sense for you guys, that's the best way to really word it, in my opinion.
Now, again, I do think Minato is stronger than most of the Akatsuki, obviously. However, saying that he's just the one-shot God Jesus who just obliterated and ripped Obito in half it's a little extra, okay? Because, like, if you watch or read the fight, that is absolutely not what happened.
Yeah, no, it's close. It's a close fight.
And again, 14-year-old cripple, right?
Yep.
It's not it's not too
he's not
impressive.
Crippled. He's 14, has hot trauma cells, full body.
Even during the war, like, anything of relevance Minato did, he had to be in KCM too, right? When he blitzed Obito or whatever, he was in KCM too. And even then, this was after he had the Ten Tails extracted from him, and when he was being controlled by Black Zetsu, right? So, for one, he wasn't in control of his actions, and two, Black Zetsu was garbage. So, it's not necessarily good. Now, again, he still blitzed Obito before he did the Kamui, so obviously that's something, right? But then you have this other thing, like when he was going to make the 4 Kage tetragram barrier or whatever, he was in KCM too, right? Now, some of you may argue, oh, he was mental, he had a mental nerve. Don't you know in Naruto that they had mental ants and mental nerve when they're fighting students or whatever? Yes, that's true. He might have had one, but are you really going to sit here and tell me that the 9-tailed fox that was sealed inside of him had a mental nerve? Huh? You think he had feelings for Obito? Now, you could say, oh, well, since Minato had a mental nerve, he doesn't know how to properly control his powers. I ain't trying to hear that. He had perfect... He was a KCM too, right? Oh, he couldn't properly unlock all of his powers. That's a lie. I'm not trying to hear it, all right? Minato is a genius. And, like, he was dead and mastered the technique, right? He was dead. He shouldn't even know how to properly access the 9 Tails chakra. while he was alive, he only had it for like 5 minutes before he died, right? And all of
Yeah.
a sudden, he's just, when he comes back from the dead, he's just a master at using it. Like, this dude
Yeah.
mastered it
He's
faster
built
than
different.
Naruto.
Yeah.
Dare I say, faster than anybody else ever, right? Like, I'm not trying to hear, oh, he couldn't properly use all of his power. That's a lie, because we also see him later on in the war. Now, in real lifetime, in Naruto time, this was probably like 30 minutes later, if that, right? Like, I'm not trying to hear he couldn't properly use it. Even during this fight, the narrative was him and Naruto were more so rivals at this point, with KCM2, mind you. All right, with KCM2, they were rivals. Now, I'm not going to argue about Minato's speed at this point, because he was already like KCM in base, so I don't think anyone's pretty much faster than him at this point outside of like the Six Paths characters. And even then, you could argue that KCM2 Minato is faster than a lot of Six Paths characters. But even still, like,
Six Path.
he needed anything of relevance he did, he was in KCM2. And on top of that, like, in this fight, like, he needed to equalize his chakra, right? Now, equalizing your chakra does not mean you are on the same level as someone, all right? Naruto had way more chakra than Sasuke, and they equalized their chakra, all right? It's actually a tactical thing that is done in Naruto, and it's just very hard for more normal people to do, right? So, like, Minato is all, even though Minato is like incredibly skilled and stuff like that, and you might even argue, like, you might even bring up the fact that he did this thing in base, right? He blocked Six Paths Madara, right? So for one, this is like the weakest form of Six Paths Madara, for one. Two, the True Seeking Orbs don't move as fast as the person who threw them. And three, Might Guy, even though he was in the 8th gate, he wasn't moving at full speed. He was air skipping because he knew the strategy and all that. There was a tactical strategy because he knew he needed help with this fight. So there was reasons for this, right? And even then, like, yes, he did teleport in between this. However, Rock Lee threw the kunai. Minato doesn't have any arms, so this more so speaks to Rock Lee's strength than anything else, right? Now, granted, Rock Lee had to go in the 6th gate, but we ain't talking about him. But Minato, at this point, he did teleport in and teleport out, but it's not really that big of. It's not really.
So that's not. So Kakashi was the one that threw the kunai. That's the first thing. What's it called? And then two, this whole feat is extremely contentious. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. You know, it's really fucking weird. So, you know, this is him in base. He does teleportation and he's able to move, and everything else is in slow motion, and he moves and then he teleports away. Okay, so people think, oh, he's so fucking fast even in base, to where he's faster than Guy in 8th gate and faster than Jubi Madara, you know, with only one Rinnegan, you know, things like that. So, and then that's it. You know what I mean? Then you have people that are like, oh, Guy was air skipping, so no. 8th gate guy is still fast, blah, blah. Or then you have people that are like, oh, well, no, that's just disproven. Because, you know, whenever Guy does, like, the, you know, all the air current shit, he's immediately shitting on Madara, and Madara can't do anything. So, at the end of the day, like, it's a fucking can of worms, and it's annoying. But, you know, what we do have, we at least do know concretely, bare minimum, Guy, okay, was able to take on Madara without help. I'm just putting that out there right now. A lot of people say he needed help, but he didn't need fucking help. He's literally shown over and over to fuck up Madara without help. And I mean, like, he gets a hit from this, but mind you, it's still Guy doing the work himself. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they helped out, did some combos with him, but that's it. You know what I mean? So, regardless, Guy is more than capable of being able to fight Madara, and, you know, he's doing his thing. It's shown over and over, okay? And that's basically what it is. So I'm putting that out there, but regardless, you know, however you want to take this scene, it could be interpreted in many ways. Unfortunately, we don't really have a way to know. I'm going to be completely honest with you. If, you know, Minato couldn't even do anything against Jubito when he's in KCM 2. Actually, no, I forgot. That's when he had the mental nerve blah, so I can't know him. It's just weird, man. Like I said, Minato's an interesting, weird character to scale, but not completely, but like in certain aspects, certain things that you could be talking about and discussing. But it's like, I don't know, like, it's just, even when Minato, like, like has access to KCM2, blah blah. Like there's only so much he's showing and doing. Like so much feats he has. And then with this in base, there's only so much he can do. But it's interesting. It is really interesting. I don't think he's somehow, some way fucking 6-pass level and combat speed and all this. You name it, blah blah. You name it, like that's just like I don't know. It's really weird just to say like that's his like straight up speed and everything. All I do think would happen in this scene is he teleports. The teleportation, okay, is definitely shown to be on a really good level to be able to either, whether if you think it's equal to 6-pass or be over. Okay, it's shown, where he can be able to teleport away from Jubito, or he can be able to teleport in front of Jubimater as well. Oh, you got that for me too?
They messed up my fries, so you can have those ones.
Okay, thank you. Things like that. So, like, basically, it's weird. It's really weird because, like, if let's say we grant Minato in base as the 4th Hokage, and he just somehow, some way has 6-pass level, whatnot, like, that doesn't make any sense. He would just instantly destroy everything. Like, he would have instantly destroyed Obito, bro. You know what I mean? Like, things like that. So, like, I don't know. It's just really weird to go that far. And not only that, the orbs don't scale to Madara. He is correct on that. The orbs have its own speed. Like, it's not like him throwing it with his hand. He's literally controlling it, and it's just being tossed. Like, Guy was able to use the gates and react to it. Lee could be able to react to it. Kakashi could be able to react and throw a kunai to it. So it's not broken. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like Jubimater where he can just instantly fucking shit on anybody, And that's even further proven when Jubito is able to speed blitz all these people, and Jubimater is able to speed blitz Minato, while he's using Sage Mode, remind you. So, like, it's just, that's just basically the way it goes. So, like, basically all this shows is that Minato can be able to either react and move to at least the speed of the truth-seeking orbs. Cool, whatever, that's it, But many characters can react to it, so it's not really a feat. That's, at least from what I see, there's ways to highball Minato and be like, oh, he just scaled blah, blah, all this crazy shit, but, and then obviously there's going to be people that will even downplay it further and say whatever, but, simplify things, you just move with the Truth-Seeker orbs, just like anybody else could do,
The hype that it gets because...
Even Obito with white hair and black Zetsu on him was able to react to Truth-Seeking orbs and block it, so...
His characters were moving at full speed, right? So... Even when it comes to that, right? Minato actually a lot of people just think, and a lot of people also take this out of proportion too, right? He summoned the Reaper Death, he summoned the Reaper, right? Did the Reaper Death Seal, right? And sealed the Nine Tails, right? So, when he was saying this, he was like, wow, this is way too much chakra. I don't know if I'm going to be able to seal all this. Let me cut it in half, right? He had to cut the Nine Tails chakra in half. He sealed the one half in himself. And he was like, oh God, this is way too much. I'm surprised anyone can even handle this thing. Half of it, right? Something that, Hashirama could, clap his hands and do the whole thing, right? And like 7 other tailed beasts, That's
all right. I got 10 minutes, by the way. I'll be in the room with you.
Definitely some Hashirama level strength right there, stressing with one tailed beast. Now, granted, it's the strongest tailed beast, but Hashirama held 8 of them as pets, basically. And here's Minato stressing himself about 1, right? And even then, when he sealed it in there, like, to be honest, the Nine Tails is so much chakra. Like, I'm not gonna bag him too much for that because even Madara and Obito had a hard time keeping the Nine Tails under control. But the only reason I think that the entire Nine Tails was able to be sealed at all was because of Mito and Kushina's chakra suppression chains. Like, that's literally the only reason I think they were actually able to be sealed inside of any person, right? And like, when it comes to the Nine Tails too, like, Kurama, when he was in Naruto and Naruto mastered KCM2 or whatever, he said that Naruto was at a level that Minato and Kushina can only imagine, right? So realistically, he can't be any stronger than KCM2, right? And I'm not gonna argue the Sage Mode thing, right? But that's stupid. He said he was like, "Oh, I'm not good at Sage Mode. It takes too long, and it doesn't this and that." Nah, I'm not trying to hear it. He blinked and was a perfect Sage.
Yep.
Like, I guess he just has confidence issues or something like that.
It's
Because
a downplay statement. He's downplaying himself. Those exist.
at using. And to master Sage Mode, it takes a lot of patience, and you need a high pool of chakra to do it anyway. So it's like,
Yep.
maybe it just. I'm going to assume it just doesn't fit his moveset. Because the type of moveset that Minato has, it's always quick and snappy and all this. With Sage Mode, it's a lot to set up. So usually if he was by himself, he wouldn't really be able to, he doesn't really utilize it, or he wouldn't be able to use it. Because he can summon the Great Toad. Like, he can summon Gamabunta. We saw him do it again in the Ninetales, when the Ninetales attacked the village. So, like, when it comes to that, I'm not defending that, right? Or Minato is amazing at Sage Mode, right? And, like, when it comes to Minato, a lot of people like to hype him up too, because Tobirama said, "Wow, you're better at using my moves than I am." Which, for some reason, I guess people think that just automatically means that Tobirama is weaker than Minato. And that's just not true. So, when it comes to Tobirama and Minato, if you are a longtime watcher of my channel, you know I view them more so as rivals than anything, right? I view them as, like, rivaling powers or, like, equals, that more so, right? But I hold Tobirama in a higher regard than most people do, so that's not really saying much. But when I say that they're
How the fuck are they rivals? What? Oh my god.
rivals, it's more so Tobirama has more physical power and chakra knowledge because he's a Senju, and he's the brother of, like, Hashirama. Like, he has more physical chakra and AP and stuff like that, but Minato is just better at using his techniques. But just because you're better at using a technique than someone else does not mean you are stronger than them, right? So, like, in Chapter 1, we saw Naruto use the Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu, right? Tobirama created the Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto's better at using it than he is. Chapter 1 Naruto is not stronger than Tobirama, right? Madara can use the Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu. He's not stronger than Madara.
Okay, so I'm gonna immediately... Yeah, like, this is crazy, Ken. So, Tobirama doesn't have more chakra than Minato. That's a bunch of bullshit. What's it called? Base to base, maybe, sure. You know, because he does have, like, that one moment where, like, he releases a certain amount of chakra and, you know, kind of, like, you know, fucking everything up and kind of, you know, giving some fear pressure, you know what I mean? And then Hashirama does the same thing to calm him down or whatever. So maybe base to base, whatever. But then again, you can bring up plenty of arguments to just basically show that Minato has crazy chakra levels, you know what I mean? And it's probably just as equal as Tobirama. Like, unfortunately, Tobirama is just, he doesn't have anything, bro. Like, he doesn't have, you know, like, the most feats he ever shows is in the War Arc. He knows it aren't even fucking, you know, that great. Like, he has some Flying Raijin feats that are able to do things, you know, against, like, Jubito and whatnot and blah, blah. But then again, it's Flying Raijin. Flying Raijin's just broken. I mean, the Flying Raijin doesn't scale to you as a person. That's not how that works, you know? So, like, Tobirama, this, you know, it's definitely debatable to even provide them at equal chakra levels. But let's say you want to give Tobirama that he has more chakra. All right, great. We don't know who has better chakra control, and if Minato has better chakra control, which I believe he does, because he was able to master fucking Sage Mode and master KCM2 instantaneously, you know, things like that, Minato would still be more stronger. We've seen plenty of examples. If you have good chakra control and mastery, you will be more powerful than someone that has more chakra than you. Okay, you would have to basically prove that Tobirama also has incredible chakra control. I'm not saying he has horrible. That wouldn't make any sense. You can't be an Okage if you have horrible. But it's probably just normal level of chakra control. You know what I mean? Like, you have basically, to simplify it, 3 tiers. Low, middle, then high. High would be like Tsunade or Sakura, okay, or Itachi. Minato, things like that, okay? Then you have, like, mid-tier, like Kakashi, Tobirama, etc., etc. You know what I mean? So, like, overall, like, for all we know, that could just be that. There you go. So that's not a problem. Or, if you really want to go along even further on that, okay, if we're talking about KCM2 Minato, there's no way you can say Tobirama has more fucking chakra. there's eventually a statement that where he even says that KCM2 Naruto almost has as much chakra as fucking Hashirama. Now I don't remember if that was either Sage Mode or KCM2, like if it was combined with Sage Mode and KCM2, or if it was just KCM2 alone. But the bottom line is, okay, Minato has Sage Mode. It is quicker and easier to gather nature energy with KCM2 that it's also stated verbatim by Naruto. So meaning Minato can also stack Sage Mode with KCM2. Okay, like, so there you go, you have that. And then even if you don't grant that, let's say it is with KCM2 alone, bro, like fucking Minato just has way more chakra. Like, way more fucking, it's the Nine Tails. It's half the fucking Nine Tails, bro. Like, we're really gonna sit here and say Tobirama has more chakra than the fucking Nine Tails? Like, what are we talking about right now? So that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, when it comes to base to base, that's a whole other thing, whatever. It is what it is. I'm not going to fight too hard on that. But, like, that's just really weird to just blatantly come out like that. I feel like that's a little disingenuous. Like, I'm not a Minato tard, but I'm going to be straight up in his corner for that one. Like, come on. You know what I mean? I'm the first one to shut, the overhype or Minato tard nonsense down as well, to a degree, which is why I was, like, really feeling and respecting this video to it, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be really honest with you, but the moment he came out with this Tobirama shit was just crazy. That was definitely unexpected, And then not only that, when he makes the statements in the manga and anime, he says your teleportation is faster than mine. If you look up the definition of faster, that means you're faster, and that was in base. So therefore, Minato's teleportation is faster. So if they both use Flying Raijin, Minato would be faster and then kill him. Simple, right? Does that make sense? Okay? And then when it comes to placing markers, Tobirama's like, wow, you're quick at placing your markers as well. Even better in that regard. So Minato's better at placing markers, faster at teleportation. Like, it's stated verbatim. You know what I mean? And then even in the data books further supports that Minato just surpassed Tobirama in the elements of Flying Raijin. Just how Kabuto and Orochimaru surpassed Tobirama with reanimation jutsu. Tobirama is constantly being surpassed. Constantly. You know what I mean? So Minato has access to Sage Mode, KCM2, you name about all this stuff, and we're really going to sit here that Tobirama is fucking stronger? Like, come on, bro. That's just so fucking dumb. And there's plenty of narrative implications that Minato is just better than Tobirama. Backpacking, soloing, wars, fucking, able to deal with the full power Nine Tails and Obito, while Tobirama could even lost to Kin and Gin twice, who only have access to V2 transformation. You know what I mean? Things like that. You name it, like, Tobirama his scaling is just fucking horrendous. It's all over the place. You know what I mean? It's horrendous. Okay? And, there's feats that he has that are, can be considered very bad anti-feats, okay, or just feats in comparison, especially to Minato, that will make him really look bad. You know what I mean? Like, so if I don't know, it's just like I said, in comparison to Minato, he's not there. Chakra, could still give that to Minato. Intelligence, okay, it's equal in the majority of aspects, but when it comes to, like, analysis and things like that, I would probably give that to Tobirama, because Tobirama was able to figure out everything with, like, the whole Sage Mode stuff in Jubito, while Minato was just thinking or sitting there or whatever, So I'll give that to Tobirama, okay? But either way, like, it's just Minato just has it in the bag in many, many categories that matter in a fight, and no, Minato is definitely stronger than Tobirama. Like, if you analyze all the feats KCM2 Naruto could do, the motherfucker could slap away Biju bombs with his body. His body. Okay? Well, Tobirama, like, can't fucking do anything. Like, never shows any feats on that level. Or going, like, or doing crazy blow-for-blow attacks, and whatnot. Or pushing fucking Jubito with some crazy-ass, attack potency or whatever. Like, it's just not there, bro. Like, there's no way. It's completely disingenuous to just ignore all the feats and scaling for KCM2 alone, Sage Mode, the statements that are put verbatim for Minato just to be better overall. Like, it's blatantly shown Minato has surpassed Tobirama in many aspects. If we're going to sit here and really believe in that notion, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much evidence. Like, the best feats Tobirama has is when he's in Edo, when he's dead, not alive, when he's dead, so weaker, okay? and then literally like is able to get speed blitz by Jubito, and then eventually place paper bombs on him and then blow him up. Which reminds you, when he places the paper bombs, it was an off-screen moment, so we don't know if he just reacted while Obito basically blitzed him or whatever, which then it wouldn't be a speed blitz because that means he reacted. But from what we literally see in the anime and the manga, it shows him getting speed blitz. Okay, him and Hashirama completely cut in half. Then Hashirama grabs him with wood style because it's just standing there. It's a mindless fucking Jubito. Okay, and then we see paper bombs on him or whatever. Or actually, no, we see Tobirama like throw some paper bombs or whatever, and you name it. So like, there's no concrete proof to show that he placed paper bombs right when he got charged. You know what I mean? Like, that's just crazy to even say. To say that he's now scales to 6-pass level, and when it's blatantly stated verbatim that Hashirama is weaker than Jubito, like, mind you, a mindless one, okay? So, like it's just completely dumb to even rat or try to, upscale or whatever Tobirama, or even highball him to those degrees. That's just not there at all. You know what I mean? He does, like, his pair bombs, whatever, blows up, and it does nothing to Jubito, and that's it. So, like, that's, like, the best feat he has that you could try to maybe rat or highball or upscale, but you can't. You know what I mean? If you analyze all the evidence, you can immediately debunk it and just contradict it and refute it. I mean, like, you're basically saying Tobirama is stronger than fucking Hashirama then, which is not the fucking case. You know what I mean? So, it's just dumb. It's just fucking stupid. I get what he's doing, and these line of reasoning examples, it does make sense. It's understandable. I get what he's saying, the whole shadow clone thing and blah blah. But with Minato, that's not the case. He is faster and better, and has Nine Tails and Sage Mode. Come on, what are we doing?
Minato.
Tobirama's strong. It's a Kage level opponent, blah blah whatever. But his scaling is so fucked. We just don't know, unfortunately. We don't know. And we have to go off of what we at least can see and have available, and it doesn't look good at all for Tobirama. His scaling is really shit, in my opinion.
Can use the multi-shadow clone jutsu. He's not stronger than Minato. Kakashi can use the multi-shadow clone jutsu. Now, that one's up for debate for multiple reasons, but I'm still going to go off on whim here and say Chapter 1 Naruto is not stronger than Kakashi. So, being better at using a technique doesn't necessarily mean that you are stronger than a person who also uses that technique. Matter of fact, let's go off the Rasengan, right? The Rasengan was created and mastered by Minato, right? Now, Minato was never able to put an element into it. Of course, if he lived longer, then yes, he would have more than likely been able to mix in an element into it. But look, Jiraiya also mastered it, right? He also mastered it. And in the games, and some non-canon material, he can, like, mix fire style into it. He can make a fire style Rasengan, right? But does that mean Jiraiya is stronger than Minato? No, it doesn't. Just because Jiraiya mastered a technique that Minato was never able to do, that doesn't mean he is inherently stronger than Minato. Or it doesn't mean that his Rasengans hit harder than Minato's, right? So, when it comes to that, like...
Jiraiya did that in the game. He has a fire style Rasengan. Look it up on YouTube. But yes, he does have a fire Rasengan. He adds the nature of fire style to the Rasengan. But it's non-canon though. We know it's non-canon because... What's it called? When it's stated by Kakashi blah that Minato couldn't do it, nobody could do it. Like, nobody has mastered it or whatever. So it'd be really weird. Like the only argument you could have is like maybe Kakashi wasn't aware that Jiraiya did complete that level of training and mastered it. But it's more than likely not because he never shows it in the manga. He never shows it even in the anime. Like, the game is the only time he does a fire style Rasengan. The only time. You know what I mean? So like it's debatable whether if it is canon or not, that particular thing. There's many ways you can try to argue it's canon. Like, at the end of the day, the games, Kishimoto supervising, blah, blah, you name it. With the whole voting thing, Kishimoto and all that, like, there's plenty of ways to argue that the games can be canon. The only things that we know for a fucking fact that it's not canon is when Obito and Madara are retreating from fucking Naruto. Like, that never happened in the war. They didn't just concede the war and retreat. Like, so... So, like, It's interesting. It could be legit or it's not. We just don't know, unfortunately. We don't. I feel like it's safe to say that he doesn't, because like he should at least showed some type of indication to do it, or it would have probably made sense for him to maybe try to teach Naruto the training for combining nature, changing nature to the Rasengan. But it is what it is, So, but it's possible. It could be a thing. We don't know.
I'm not really getting it when it comes to Minato, right? Now, if you really want an honest scale of Minato, right? Minato was compared to Minato's speed anyway. His speed was compared to KCM Naruto's, right? And throughout like the middle section, the beginning to middle section of Naruto Shippuden, it was more so Naruto trying to surpass the fourth Hokage, right? His Rasengan, like him mastering the Rasen Shuriken, was supposed to be his feat of surpassing the fourth Hokage, right? A lot of the data books and whatever, they try to say this as well. So you could say that Minato's base Rasengan hit as hard as the Rasen Shuriken. Now that's pretty impressive considering how powerful the Rasen Shuriken is, right? So with physical AP, the data book pretty much implies that like he's more so like Kakuzu level when it comes to physical stats. Now it's just physical, right? If you put KCM Naruto speed on top of that, then like yeah, sure, that's dangerous, that's deadly, right? Just in base, right? So there's that, and then during the Sage Mode fight, and then when he was in Sage Mode, he was fighting Pain. the Chief Toad, the person who literally trained Minato and Jiraiya, was like, wow, okay, he surpassed those who came before him, right? Which means base Minato isn't any more powerful than even Sage Mode Naruto, right? He's not. And I've heard a lot of people try to argue this and say, no, that don't mean nothing. He don't, his trainer.
Wait. So, what I've heard, Minato scales to Kakuzu, and Minato is less than Sage Mode Naruto? What the fuck are we doing here? What? What the Bro! Okay. I don't know about all that. What's it called? If base Minato had to fight Sage Mode Naruto, base Minato would have definitely won the fight. Now, when it comes to like them going blow for blow, that's understandable. You can more likely imply Naruto's going to have in stats and physical, abilities and whatnot, whatever. Fine, sure. And then maybe to some degree, Minato can go blow for blow. This started so good, right? That's what I'm saying. Like the video started so good, but now it's just like, what the fuck am I hearing? So like I understand that in a sense, but when it comes to like sensory, precog, you know what I mean? Like, and like reaction, all that, it is stated verbatim that it's better than KCM1. So Naruto like would be able to react and dodge anything fucking Minato does. Even if Minato teleports, Naruto would be able to react and dodge, things like that, so like, Sage Mode Naruto will be able to do well, but eventually the problem though is Sage Mode Naruto would run out of Sage Mode, and before he could even react it back, Minato would teleport and kill him. That's why Minato would still win the fight. So to just sit here blatantly and say he's not even stronger than Sage Mode Naruto, which I'm assuming he means like if they were to fight he wouldn't win. Because if he meant that like comparison like in physical, like if they both punched who would hit harder, I'm pretty sure he would have said that, you know what I mean, or explained, clarified, whatever. But no, he just said Sage Mode Naruto is stronger than Minato. So meaning I'm pretty sure he's saying that Minato would lose in that fight, base Minato, and that's just crazy. Like, come on, bro. Like I said, I'm not a Minato tard, and I'm not gonna be doing these god or fucking outrageous high balls or ratty scaling, whatever for Minato, whatever, blah blah, that a lot of people do, aka even 6. Okay, but to say that he can't beat Sage Mode Naruto, that's just fucking dissing. Like, what? Like, it literally took for Naruto to get KCM1 to even start being compared to Minato. And yes, it was in the fashion and speed of blah blah, but KCM Naruto is very powerful as well, you know? And the fact that base Minato can replicate equal power to the Rising Shuriken, which is more than likely with the assertion of Rasengan possibility-wise. If you want to really highball, you could say anything he does, but I think that's very fucking stupid and unrealistic. So it's more likely with him doing like a massive Rasengan or maybe a base Rasengan, but regardless, you know, cool. But that's base Minato alone. We see everything he does as an Edo in the War Arc with base. Like, base Minato is no joke, bro. He's no fucking joke. Like, that's just... I don't know about all that. That's a huge fucking claim. And then to say that he scales to Kakasu in base, like, the fuck? What? Like, what the... Kakasu can't even deal with a fucking baby QB amp Naruto that's fucking tired and fatigued with a Rising Shuriken with 3 Shadow Clones. You really think he's gonna be able to compensate for something? Like, he has something in his fucking backpack and can deal with teleportation? And a Rasengan that has the same power as the Shuriken? Like... That's just, I don't know. But yeah, this man, he definitely fought. Like, I'm sorry, but like at first it was going to be like, oh, this is good video, like, whatever. Then it was like, oh, this is stalemating. Like, you know, it's good and bad, so I'm not really going to leave a like or dislike. But bro, you getting a fucking dislike at this point. That Tobirama shit, that Kakasu crap, and the Sage Naruto, like... That's just fucking crazy.
Doesn't know anything. The person who trained Minato and trained him to master Sage Mode doesn't know how powerful Minato is, his actual student. So, I don't know. There are just edgelords out there who just think that the person who trained him just doesn't know how powerful he is, right? Even though they show silhouettes of the people that they were talking about. So, you know, yeah, when it comes to that, Minato, and even then, like I said earlier, Kurama even said that KCM2 Naruto was at a level far beyond what Minato could imagine, right? So, even then, I say Minato in his base is more than likely he's in his base. He has the physical AP of a Rasen Shuriken, and he has the speed of KCM, right? Now, when it comes to like his actual base, he's more so like, even in his base, I think he's stronger than the base Sanin. How about that, right? He's above the Sanin in base, and he's above basically the base form of any Akatsuki member, right? He's above that, especially with his speed just in base. He's beyond that. When it comes to Minato, it was more so about his potential that people hyped up, right? He did great things while he was alive, but it was his potential that was hyping him up, right? Minato was a prodigy who had the potential to become the strongest, but he wasn't at the end of the day, right? So if you disagree with me, just let me know. I already know I'm gonna get comments saying I'm biased, or I just hate me, or like, oh, you just hate that Minato is so strong, or this and that, blah blah blah, whatever. All right, I'm a YouTuber. I'm used to criticism, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, apologies for taking so long to do this. Not recording.
He's a very humble person. He's a very, like, reasonable person. So I'm not even going to dislike the video. I won't even do that. I'm not liking the video because I didn't enjoy it. Like, it was so good in the beginning. And middle-ish, you know, was getting a little iffy. But then towards the end, it's just horrible. Just random accusations of line of scaling. Like, if we're really going to sit here and say that Minato and base is equal to Kakasu, Hidon, all these other people, you name it, blah, blah, like, that's crazy. That's just crazy. Like, well, actually, let me take that back. What he said was, in all their base forms, Minato is more over, but if they go to, like, their next transformation, which Hidon doesn't have a transformation, so I guess Hidon's dead, right? So if, like, Kakasu goes, like, its full tentacle shit and all that, blah, blah, then now they're equal. Like, huh? And then if Tachi does, like, Susanoo or whatever, blah, blah, like, equal, you know? If, like, all the people, like, whatever, do a transformation, or Kasami turns into the shark, equal. Like, I don't know. That was really weird, dude. I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, it was a decent video, beginning and middle-ish, but then once it got like towards the end, that was just horrendous. That's where it really fell apart. Like that was a tease. I really thought, oh, there's gonna be some potential, and for it to earn a like. Not a horrible video, but definitely disappointing. So, anyways, we're gonna end this video. Make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think of Minato overall. Do you think he's a well-diverse character? Do you think he's extremely god? Do you think that people overrate him, or overscale him, or too much highballs, or ratty arguments, or whatever, blah blah? Just let me know what you think. Like it is controversial to a degree. Where do you think Minato basically falls under? Realistically, you name it. At least concretely, like let's say you were to concretely scale the character, where do you think he would fall? If you wanted to give like subjective arguments to either potentially, upscale, whatever, or things like that, then by all means go ahead, let me know. But let me know in general. I'm curious. Stuff for more content, so we get us on the channel.